A 95-pound, long-haired German Shepherd does something every morning that no one taught him. He checks on a 7-month-old baby girl before anyone else in the house wakes up. He sniffs her face, licks her fingers, and lies beside her crib until she opens her eyes. But what he did at 2:47 a.m. on a Wednesday in January is the reason this family calls him something no one expected: Dad. Not all German Shepherds are what people imagine. Some aren't chasing suspects or patrolling borders. Some, like Shadow, are lying on a nursery floor at 5 in the morning with their massive head resting against a crib, watching a baby girl sleep like it's the most important job in the world. Shadow is a 95-pound, long-haired German Shepherd, jet black with copper markings, deep brown eyes, and a coat so thick he looks twice his size. He looks like the kind of dog people pull their children away from at the park, but inside this house, he has a title that would surprise every single one of them. He's not a guard dog, he's not a canine. According to everyone who lives here, Shadow is a father. Specifically, he believes a 7-month-old baby girl named Ellie is his puppy, and nobody in this family has the heart to tell him otherwise. Ryan and Megan Cooper hadn't planned on keeping Shadow. They weren't even looking for a dog. It was a Tuesday evening in April when Megan's coworker called in tears. Her landlord had given her 48 hours to get rid of her dog or face eviction. A 95-pound German Shepherd in a no-pets apartment. She had hidden him for 8 months. She couldn't hide him anymore. Megan sat beside him on the second night. She didn't say anything. She just sat there. After 20 minutes, Shadow moved his head onto her lap. One slow, careful movement, and that was it. That was the moment he chose her. The 2 weeks came and went. The coworker found a new apartment, a no-dogs apartment. She called Megan crying again. Megan looked at Shadow. Shadow was asleep on the couch with his head on Ryan's lap. Ryan, who didn't want a dog. Ryan, who couldn't watch TV without 95 pounds of fur leaning against him. "He's staying," Ryan said without looking up. But everything changed when Ellie arrived. The pregnancy had been smooth, but the house was nervous. Ryan read every article about dogs and newborns. Megan's mother called twice a day asking if they were really going to keep a German Shepherd around a baby. The internet was full of horror stories. Friends told them to be careful. One neighbor said it directly: "That dog will hurt your baby. It's what they do." The day they brought Ellie home from the hospital, Ryan carried the car seat through the front door with his heart in his throat. Shadow was sitting in the hallway, completely still. His ears were forward, his nose was working. He knew something had changed. Megan set the car seat on the living room floor. Shadow walked over slowly, not excited, not aggressive, deliberate. He sniffed the blanket. He sniffed Ellie's tiny hand. Then he lay down beside the car seat and pressed his entire body against it. He didn't leave that spot for 6 hours. Megan had to bring his water bowl to him because he refused to move. From that day on, Shadow treated Ellie like his own puppy. Every time Ellie cried, Shadow was at the crib before Megan was. Not barking, not panicking, just standing there, nose pressed against the bars, whining softly like he was saying, "She needs you, hurry up." Then the grooming started. Shadow began licking Ellie's fingers every morning, gently, carefully, the same way a mother dog cleans her pups. Ellie would giggle and grab his fur with both hands. Shadow didn't flinch, not once. 95 pounds sitting perfectly still while a 7-month-old pulled his ears and once shoved an entire fist into his nostril. He just blinked and kept going. Stories like these remind us why some moments are worth waiting for. Megan started calling it the morning inspection. Every day before anyone else woke up, Shadow would walk to the nursery, push the door open with his nose, and check on Ellie. He'd sniff her face, he'd lick her fingers, and then he'd lie down beside the crib and wait. Every single morning, without fail. Ryan set up a camera. The footage showed the same thing every night. Shadow sleeping outside the nursery door from 9 p.m. until 6 a.m., in the hallway, facing the door, like a soldier on post. I see you still haven't subscribed. That honestly breaks my heart. Hit subscribe now. You're going to want to hear what happened on this night. Then came the night that changed everything. At 2:47 a.m. on a Wednesday in January, Ryan and Megan were asleep. Ellie was in her crib. Shadow was in his usual spot outside the nursery door. At 2:47, Shadow began barking. Not his usual alert bark. This was different, sharp, urgent, desperate. Ryan ran to the nursery. Shadow was standing at the crib, pawing at the bars, barking directly at Ellie. Ryan picked her up. She was burning, 104.1 degrees. Her breathing was shallow and fast. Her lips were turning pale. They rushed her to the emergency room. The doctor said it was a severe respiratory infection that had escalated rapidly. They said if they had waited until morning, the outcome could have been very different. Shadow had known before the monitors, before the thermometer, before the parents. Something in those 95 pounds of instinct knew that his puppy was in trouble. When they brought Ellie home 2 days later, Shadow didn't leave her side for 72 hours. He followed whoever was holding her from room to room. He only ate when she was asleep, and even then, he carried his food bowl to the hallway outside her door so he could watch while he ate. Ryan sat on the nursery floor that week. He held Shadow's massive head in his hands and looked into those deep brown eyes. "I'm sorry I ever hesitated," he whispered. Today, Ellie is 14 months old. Shadow is 4. They are inseparable. Every evening, Ellie crawls toward Shadow and he lowers himself flat on the floor so she can climb onto his back like a horse. She grabs his fur. He doesn't move. She falls asleep on him at least twice a week, her tiny body rising and falling with his breathing. When strangers see Shadow at the park and pull their children away, Megan just smiles. This 95-pound German Shepherd isn't what they think. He's not aggressive. He's not dangerous. He's a dad. And his puppy wears pink bows and fits perfectly against his chest. Sometimes the thing that changes your family isn't what you planned. Sometimes it's 95 pounds of fur, instinct, and a love so deep it wakes up at 2:47 in the morning to save a life. Because Shadow didn't just protect Ellie, he chose her. From the very first moment he saw her, he knew she was his, and he's never let her go. Would you trust a 95-pound German Shepherd alone with your baby, or would you listen to the neighbors? Tell me in the comments.